and sensitive investigation involving thefts from mausoleums and cemeteries across the Greater Toronto Area. First, I want to acknowledge and thank members of the media for your coverage and continued cooperation as we share this information with our community. Over the past couple months, our investigators have been leading a lengthy and complex investigation into a series of thefts targeting mausoleums across multiple jurisdictions, including Halton, Toronto, Hamilton, and Niagara region. To date, we believe there have been more than 300 thefts from cremation niches, with thieves primarily targeting jewelry, decorative urns, keepsakes, often stored alongside the remains of loved ones. Beside me here, you can see some of the nearly 600 items seized by our officers. On behalf of the HRPS, we would like to recognize that the thefts we're discussing today are not simply property crimes. They represent a violation of sacred spaces meant for remembrance, respect, and peace. Our hearts go out to the families who have had to endure additional pain during what are already times of loss and reflection. We know that everyone involved in this investigation, from our detectives to the leadership team, has treated this case with the utmost seriousness and compassion. At this time, I'd like to invite Deputy Chief Roger Wilkie to the podium. Deputy Chief Wilkie will provide further details on this investigation.
Thank you, Ryan, and good morning. I was outraged. You stole from the dead. What kind of person are you? Those are the words of a grieving family member, a victim of an absolutely heinous crime. This was a crime against places of peace and remembrance, a crime that has inflicted deep emotional pain and heartbreak on families already grieving for their loved ones. Families who have now experienced violation, anger, disrespect, and a painful resurgence of their loss. On behalf of the Halton Regional Police Service, please know that we are deeply saddened for all who have been impacted. Our thoughts remain with these families. We understand their grief and their anger, to be mourning a loved one, only to discover that cherished items, symbols of love, memory, and connection have been callously taken from sacred spaces is unimaginable. No one, I repeat, no one should ever have to feel that way. Over the past several months, we believe that more than 300 thefts have occurred, targeting mausoleums and cemeteries throughout the Halton region and jurisdictions in the Greater Toronto Area. To date, we are aware of 8 targeted locations, including sites in Burlington, Oakville, the Niagara region, Hamilton, and Toronto. The accused went to significant lengths to deceive property managers. Our investigation revealed that in some cases, they posed as grieving family members in order to tour the premises before committing these crimes. Most of the thefts occurred in daylight hours. Tools were used to unlock and open niches without visible damage, thereby making detection extremely difficult. Some of the stolen property was sold, melted down, or discarded. We also discovered that the accused had dumped the ashes of loved ones, a reprehensible, disrespectful, and immoral act. Let me be absolutely clear. This was not a crime of opportunity. It was premeditated, deliberate, and utterly disgraceful. I want to commend the members of the Halton Regional Police Service for their unwavering professionalism, compassion, and determination throughout this investigation. On November 7th, 2025, Halton officers, with the assistance of the Niagara Regional Police Service, arrested the 2 accused at a motel in Niagara Falls. A search warrant was executed at the motel room in a related vehicle, resulting in the recovery of thousands of dollars worth of jewelry and other stolen property. 2 individuals, 45-year-old John Rutch and 31-year-old Jordan Noble, have been charged with dozens of offenses, including indignity to a dead body, theft, possession of property obtained by crime, and possession of break-in instruments. I'd like to thank the Niagara Regional Police Service, the Hamilton Police Service, and the Toronto Police Service for their support, collaboration, and information sharing throughout this investigation. The diligence, skill, and tenacity demonstrated throughout this investigation exemplify the highest standards of law enforcement and reflect our unwavering commitment to victims and to our community. I'm extremely proud of our team, and I hope that these arrests and the recovery of some of these stolen items bring at least a measure of peace to the families affected. Sadly, we know that there are likely more victims, and our hope today is to identify and support those families, provide closure, and reconnect loved ones with recovered property wherever possible. Details on that process will be shared momentarily. Folks, community safety and well-being is a shared responsibility. I want to thank our media partners and our policing partners for being here today to help us tell this story, advance our investigation, ultimately to support those who are grieving. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. So additional charges are anticipated as investigators continue working to identify victims and catalog the recovered property. Our team is currently in the process of identifying and returning these items to families across the GTA and working with our partners in Niagara, Toronto, and Hamilton. Finally, we believe there are additional victims out there who have not yet discovered that a theft has occurred at their niche, and we encourage anyone who may not have been to the site of a loved one recently to check in and ensure it's still secure. Unfortunately, as the deputy mentioned, we also know that many stolen items have already been sold or melted down for resale. Anyone who believes they may have items stolen is encouraged to contact investigators at mausoleumthefts@haltonpolice.ca. Details, photos, and description of stolen items can be shared to assist with identification and the eventual return of those items. So the deputy and Detective Randy Sorrell, who is a member of our investigative team, are here, and we're going to open up to a few questions before we conclude today's briefing. Anyone has any questions? Yeah, Sean, go ahead.
Sean from CHCH, you said a few months. Do you think this has been going on for a long time or just a few months? Any idea on the timeline?
At this time, we're probably looking at near the end of September of 2025.
Can you go back to the beginning to how you were alerted to this being an issue, and were many families calling, and sort of speak to the scope of calls that had come in?
They were reported by loved ones who were coming to visit the mausoleum in Oakville.
The one location?
At this time, yes, and then in Burlington as well.
It was mentioned that ashes were dumped. Do you know how many urns or how many times that happened? How many families are no longer have their family's ashes?
At this point in time, we have reasonable grounds to lay 3 charges for indignity to a dead body.
I think a story like this will have people concerned about the security of their loved ones who are at mausoleums such as these. Is there something to be said about the security that should be in place at cemeteries, or because, perhaps they're soft targets?
I'll let the cemeteries answer that question. I don't have the answer for that at this time.
Have any of these thefts been caught on cameras at these places?
There is evidence that we put before the courts, and that's helped us lay these charges.
Deputy, can you comment, first of all, great work by all you guys and your partners. Can you comment on the impact that this has on the community? Such a fire, there are only allegations I get, but it's so far, it's comfortable.
Such a disrespectful crime. I can only imagine going to visit a loved one and finding out that something cherished, that something belongs to that family, that connection is missing. The fact that we are laying charges of indignity to a dead body is just reprehensible. I can't even put into words how frustrating and how angering that is for us as an investigative team, and as we support these grieving families. Like, what do you say? The question about what can we do in terms of the locations. Certainly, as I mentioned earlier, community safety, well-being, safety is a shared responsibility, and I think that this will be a wake-up call for a lot of cemeteries and mausoleums to understand what lighting and extra security measures can do to support what should be a very sacred space.
Bringing it down to the CHCH, can you comment on the relationship between the accused and were they known to police in the past?
I do not understand the full relationship between the two parties, but I do know that they did act in tandem to commit these crimes. You know, the fact that they are moving around the GTA, again, is a demonstration that, you know, this is a deliberate act by these two parties for a motive to do something like this. I don't understand a person who does something like that, but greed, selling valuable property to make a bit of money is certainly the motive here.
Sir, how easy is it to fence these items? Is there any responsibility on the part of the person who's buying them? I imagine they weren't fenced in the same place, but is there any way for someone like that who's buying them to know that they're buying stolen property?
So I don't know what goes through the mind of someone who runs like a hawk shop, but the reality is that that's where they're going to get their money source, or they can go online and try to sell things on an online forum. But you know, a buy and sell shop likely has seen and purchased a number of the items that we don't have before us. Some of the property too is melted down, and we'll never be able to recover that for those families, which is very sad.
Are you aware of any other suspects linked to the accused?
At this time, no.
Do you have any idea how many pieces of jewelry or any of these items have already been sold off? Is it hundreds of pieces or?
Well, the reality is until we have people come forward to identify that there's a theft or something's missing, we won't have the total number. Our understanding through the investigation was that the accused parties did admit to selling and melting down some of the items, so we don't have a total on that. The interesting part is, you know, there's a lot of monetary value here, but it's really about the sentimental value to families. And so the more we can connect people back with this property, the greater job we'll be able to do from this investigation resolve.
The two people are of no fixed address. Do we know if they're actually from Canada, or did they come here specifically to do this, or?
I believe they are Canadian citizens of no fixed address.
Were they known to police?
They were known to police, and they were out on a release, not a judicial release, but out on a release for theft charges.
Just randomly, also, you had mentioned this at the outset, but this tool that these suspects allegedly used to get into the niches, we understand that you know, the glass wasn't shattered in these niches, they were kind of just pried open. Can you talk a little bit more about the tool and, you know, whether it went directly into the lock or, you know, say, to the corner of a box, just to kind of pry open?
My understanding that it was like a Dremel tool type thing where you can just loosen some bolts, if you will, not cause damage to the crypt or niche, and therefore some of these thefts haven't been detected or identified yet.
We do have a photo on display there of the tool in the corner of the niche there that's right on.
And these thefts happened during the day, so staff will presumably be on site?
I believe staff would be on site. As I said earlier, the accused parties at times would pose as grieving family members to access the mausoleums and then access the different niches to commit their crime.
Okay, thank you everybody for attending and helping us share this important information with our community. Again, for any follow-up media inquiries, you can contact the HRPS Corporate Communications Office and we will get back to you. One final reminder for families who have lost property, please contact us through our email address. We will have that posted on our website as well as in our media release that'll follow this press conference. Thank you everyone.